All right, all right. I got a little nervous for a second. Some things weren't working. Something Monday morning, got to have everything a little streamlined. Anyway, here I am. It is 6:31. It is December 16th. It is Fed week. Hopefully, everyone's feeling well. Had a great weekend. I know a lot of people starting to have some holiday parties, some tree trimming parties, getting things ready to go. Anyway, my name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Let's make sure we're working here. Hold on. What the hell's going on here? This? Yeah. Here. There it is. Who touched my? All right. Once again, take two. This is Scott Redler making sure everything is up. Somebody is messing with my settings. Anyway, my name is Scott Redler. Did I say that already? Yes, I did on this Monday morning. Lucky I was in the sauna and ice barrel this morning. Otherwise, I would never been able to, to figure this out, who I am and what I'm doing after a long weekend. But anyway, I'm only kidding. It is Monday, and we do have a week ahead of us. Thank goodness. We're getting an easy start. For those of you who did watch my 2:30 video, you saw that I was putting some money to work in Mister and Mistex, some options. Thinking that maybe Mister was going to be added to the Nasdaq 100, and P.S. lo and behold, the news did come out. So that helps the morning. Yes, it's always good to start off on the right foot. But anyway, so for those on the Alpha team who get to see everything live, I think everyone's kind of feeling good this morning. I've already trimmed a little bit of Mistex. It says, see, what happens is I sell some and they get to see it. I've already trimmed a little bit of IVIT. They get to see it. You know what? I might even sell a little bit more of this. So what happens is when I go to sell it, it then flashes red. So let's see if I sell a little bit. It should flash red. And that is how everybody kind of follows along. For those of you in the 630 club, I get it. You might not trade for a living and you might just want to give a little added value and get prepared for your day. But those who do trade for a living, they get to see everything as it comes on and off. So anyway, let's move on from that. It's always nice, though, to come in and get a little bit of a head start. It doesn't always happen that way. That's why I'm always getting the mind right. Sometimes you take out positions and what you think is going to happen doesn't happen. So then the situation changes and you have to think in your mind, how do I readjust to make the right decision at the right time? That's the Red Dog mindset. Hopefully you're developing your own. So anyway, you look at this upper channel of the SPYs and you'll see that it's like, hey, not the end of the world after a huge move like we've seen. We've been in an active sequence pretty much since September 11th. Remember, I try and measure active sequences for you and how do we stay in a portfolio approach, and take advantage of it. Well, we started the year right here. They started with a little bear surprise, right? On September 11th, they did the washout. And literally from here, I think we've been managing all different types of positions all the way up to where we made a new high of 609 last week. So we do have the Fed this week. The CPI and the PPI were a little conflicting. The CPI was a little in line to light. The PPI a little in line to hot. Most people are saying or think that we do get still a 25 basis point cut, but it'll be like a hawkish cut where they cut and then they're like, okay, now we're getting back to a little data dependent and we might not do any more, especially if things continue to be heated up. So for this week, I would say 602 is the low from last week. As long as we stay above 602, I always sometimes say you can't get too bearish, meaning we're going to try and stay long a bunch of things. So anyway, with that being said, this is 602. If you remember last week, I'm like 607 is a spot, 609 is a spot, and we'll go from there. Let me say hello to some of my dogs around the world. We got Diego coming in. We got Gianni Kristan from Hungary. We got JJ. Good morning. We got Scott. Your stream is not showing on YouTube now. Let's see. What? All right. I got a right-hand man now who knows technology really well, who's helping out, who's you're gonna see a lot more of. But I'm sure maybe it's up, maybe it's not up. We got Steve from Massapequa. The Qs have been strong. So let's go to the Qs while we figure this out. So the Qs have also been trending higher. Remember this wedge type format that we had here where 511.48, I'm like, it could break above the wedge or above the 8 and 21 day. And we've been above the 8 day for almost 2 weeks or so, where tech has done a lot of the heavy lifting. You'll hear on TV about the AD lines of being bad. The small caps aren't great. Energy names are out of favor. So our job as traders, if you want to be long, be in the strongest stuff. Is YouTube working? All right, YouTube's working. Maybe before. I got to check some things prior. Anyway, so with that being said, it's still trending along. Remember FNGU? I wasn't saying Feng Yu, I was just saying, hey, this is a ETF that follows Mag 7. It's actually more than follows it. It's 3-time leveraged. So right here, some guys like Red Dog, I don't want to go with Apple. I don't want to go with Netflix. I don't want to go with Amazon. I don't know which one to go at the right time. I'm like, well, you could just take this. And it was 510 and boom, big move towards a high of 657. So with that being said, a lot of the heavy lifting in the last month has been through Mag 7. So again, different flavors at different times. First quarter was a lot of Mag 7, and then you had over the summer was a lot of small caps and bios and other things, and then after rebuilding, which is what it did, it goes again, and now we'll see what happens this week. Fed week is usually a little tricky. So you want to make sure that you don't give back too much money as you head into the holidays, right? I think a lot of guys are at the highs of their quarter. They're at the highs of their month. Good for you. That means you could take home a check and hopefully provide a living for your family. Anyway, it's still not showing on YouTube. Yeah, it is. Jose, just no YouTube, Allison. I don't know. Well, this is YouTube according to Conrad, which you can't see it. Morning, Scott. You are at a different T3 link. Okay.
This one says up and coming, and you went live on MarketCast call with Christian.
Oh, all right. I'm on the wrong link. You know what? Should we log out and log in and do it again? Or does everyone, you guys figure it out? All right, Bobby 4.0 figured it out. Alan have it. We're just going. You know what? So you guys got to be a little creative yourself. All right, roll with it. Exactly. Amazon. Amazon to me looks like it's still set up. Amazon didn't have it wasn't like a streaky move like we had 2 weeks ago. So it's still hanging above the 8 day. I still think there's a chance that you could buy a dip and at some point it takes out 231 to continue. Amazon's been really good to us. Last time we came up with a really good strategy was a 202, and here was a nice sequence above the 8 day that's going sideways. And then you have, I also think Meta gave you a spot where we were buying it on this day, if you remember, on Meta. And then it got through 603. So not only did you have your middle trade where it got above a tight setup, and then wound up going through 603, which was right here. And then it hit 638. Actually, that was the day I got out of the way. Now it's trying to hold the 8 day. So I'm trying to play a little defense, but try not to be too tight, but Amazon and Meta, it wasn't like they had a streaky move like a Tesla last week. Tesla, like, wow, what a move. So I was on with Liz Klayman. By the way, I'm going back to the city tomorrow. I'll be on with Liz again, talking about how strong stocks get stronger into year end because nobody wants to take profits and what to think about with the Fed on this week on the 18th. And pre-election, I was on with her. I'm like, hey guys, my guys are saying Trump's going to win in a landslide. She's like, well, what do we buy? I'm like, Tesla and Bitcoin. She's like, what about DJT? I'm like, I don't understand it. We don't need to do that one as well. So P.S. Look at this move that we've had in Tesla, and it's traded perfectly with technicals. I am a technical trader. Yes, I use common sense, and I know a little about every little indicator out there, but a lot about how to navigate. And here was your first move. We remember this red dog reversal at 410. I remember that. I think I was on the road for some kind of basketball tournament, and it held. Actually, this is the day that Chase in his Robinhood account bought Tesla back. Anyway, he's got a pretty good Robinhood account these days. But anyway, yeah, to move to 361. Here was another spot. Then we held 348. I remember these days like they were the back of my hand because I was really focusing on how to maximize it. Then we took out 362, and then boom to 436. What a move! This was a fantastic move. And if you try and complement it with a weekly chart just to see, because sometimes it's good to have the big picture. I said if we get above 375, 384 to 414 would be a magnet. Not only was that a magnet, it got through it and it gave you really good points of references to use. And Keith is asking me about Oxy. So this time of year, you get some of the worst stocks, okay, that people start to look at a little bit because of the January effect. The January effect is a phenomenon that does happen, meaning groups and stocks that are absolutely horrendous, they continue to get sold in November and December because people are down in them and they don't want to pay taxes on the ones that have been great. So the good stocks that are trending, nobody wants to sell because who the hell wants to pay taxes on them in January and February? And the ones that have been pieces of, sugar, honey, iced tea, the ones that continue to get sold until they don't. So someone is like, is Oxy, you know, um, January effect candidate? And I'm like, yes, it is. From 71 down to here, anyone who bought Oxy this year is down money. So even though Buffett has a huge position and Buffett is the man, and if not going to take anything away from him, the bottom line is, this has been absolutely annihilated. So when I play for the January effect, I usually don't buy the stock. I usually buy options because it's December 16th. This can go down for a whole nother week, or it can go down to 3 days before settlement into the end of the year. So what I'll do is I leg into a little options for what could be some type of move to start the new year when the selling pressure is off and some people rotate into some of these weak names like this one and just say Val's another one that I started buying somewhere around here, but options. And this is not a huge play because the last thing you want to do is buy January effect names that are trickling lower and it starts costing you money out of your good trades, and then again, if you've been trading only for a year or two, chances are you're only day trading and you're not positioning into a January effect. For me, I've been doing this for 30 years, so I treat my 4 accounts like I'm a portfolio manager. How do I take advantage of every different type of situation in the market? And some of you guys that could do that also. Like this is a bad trend. This is not something you just catch a falling knife with. Anyway, as far as like what I'm focused on, day trading wise, okay. Bitcoin has been absolutely fantastic. Look at this tight move right here above the 8-day. Got a really nice setup we've been talking about, and in long IBIT since the turkey trot started on October 11th, since a month or 6 weeks before Thanksgiving, because I wanted to get you guys ahead of the consensus that all of a sudden now wants to be in crypto, which is still working, but better to start here and then continue there. Anyway, IBIT is selling down a little bit here. Okay. It did hit a high of 106 this weekend. I'm actually also, what I do is I do trim into strength because that is my style. Okay, when a gap is in my favor, I've already trimmed some of that. You could see on, I just trimmed a little bit more IBIT. I trimmed a little bit of this MSTX, and I trimmed a little bit of Wolf. So when a gap is in my favor, I go with it. Anyway, we'll see what happens today. Again, I don't have a whole lot of awesome things going on. I have some options for January effect. My morning is so far, in I'm a little ahead of the game because I did position into Mr. for the addition to the NASDAQ 100, which happened. It wasn't priced in because there was like 10 stocks being potentially selected. And anyway, so I have a bunch of stuff going on here. Some guys, another January effect name that I'm trying to position for that everyone's chattering about is this, Celsius Holdings, CELH. Look at this double top here. That was get the hell out of Dodge. Last one was in May. And if you did, well, here it tried to go, wasn't ready because maybe people were still selling it because they had so many losses. Maybe that were closer to, the new year. This could get a better move. But again, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. NVIDIA hasn't been the place to be. NVIDIA actually looks very vulnerable. If you look at NVIDIA, looks like if it breaks this 130, 180, it can go a lot lower. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but it could. Let me see what's NVIDIA doing this morning. NVIDIA is down 77 cents. I haven't really been hyper focused on NVIDIA. NVIDIA was a stock I traded every day. I was trading NVIDIA every day when Tesla wasn't great. And then it's like they flipped, kind of pre-election to post-election. Tesla became the focus, crypto stocks, Mag 7, and NVIDIA has just been on the side. So when NVIDIA is out of play, the market could do what it wants to do. But when NVIDIA turns into a headwind, people notice. So if all of a sudden we don't hold this 130, 180, 132, and it breaks here, and the semis start to roll down, chances are, it might bring out sellers in other techs. So you just want to be a little careful. It's one thing not to trade it, but you have to just have one eye on prior leaders. And this one looks very vulnerable there. What did you say? Ask me. Yeah, SoFi has worked out well. Hey Scott, is it time to buy SMCI? I was trading that when it was in an awesome trend. I haven't traded this one. I think it's just an accident waiting to happen again. Actually, not anymore. Look, this is when we were trading SMCI. This is when the trend was strong. This is when it was above the 8-day. This is when there was momentum. This is when it was trading fantastic. And then what happened? The trend broke, and then it looked like it might go sideways and do it again. And then you had a red dog reversal here, and then it's been pretty disastrous since. The whole 10K, the this, or that. So when a stock turns into a battleground, what does a battleground mean? It means that there's news around it, there's speculation of fraud or whatever it is. I just get away from it because it could look good on one day and then the news comes out to bad the next day, like Boeing. Boeing became a not touch for a while until finally it was redone. So I just think that this is a hard stock to trade. So why do I need to trade it? Tesla's been easy. Crypto's been awesome. Mag 7's been liquidity and great. Why do I need, everyone likes to go back to the well. And it's just, to me, it's like, you guys got to move on. Even though it did have a sequence, look where it had to go. It had to go to $18 before it bounced back to resistance. Anyway, if you want to trade it, that's cool. I'm not. It's hard enough to even trade something like an AMD. Remember I showed you guys the red dog reversal here. There was a red dog reversal in AMD. It gave you a little bit of a 2-day move, but if you didn't get out of here fast, look what happened on Friday. That was, it's still broken. Everyone was talking, like how they're a genius, that they caught a bottom in AMD. Yeah, you had to trade a little bit more, and then look at that. So these names are tricky and tough, and you don't want to go back to the well when they're below the 21 day. You could try a little bit. Even FXI, like I caught a good trade in the FXI, and it's been bleeding ever since. China, who did that? Anyway, I was buying the FXI in here for the January effect, and then all of a sudden, whatever the news of the stimulus, this and that, and I sold over half into that, and then little by little, I've been dribbling back in. So if you didn't have it for this, it's been coming in. Like if I have $1 for every time someone said, "Hey, can we buy BABA now?" Because BABA was a great stock for us years ago, I'd have a lot of dollars, but I would have lost a lot of money trading. But anyway, any opinion on CLSK crypto? So just as far as the miners, okay, I was on top. I was with a lot of the miners in the first part of the rally in October 11th, but then since then, the miners just haven't been great to trade. Besides Mister, and that's been even tricky. So someone's asking me about CLSK. It's I was looking at it in here, I remember, before the breakdown, and then it did have a move back. But look, Bitcoin's making higher highs and higher lows, and look where this is. It is no rhyme or reason, right? Or there is a rhyme or reason, it's just not trading well. Even the Wolf, which I've been trading much better than other things, at least this is kind of okay, right? That's a new special, kind of okay. You have a high and a lower high, and this is where the Wolf is, where you have Bitcoin over the weekend at 104, 105. So these names are not easy to trade. Mister, at least I gave you a really good trend to the highs, and they sold strength. Remember that day when I was buying the reverse, whatever they're called, and then got tight here. So thank goodness they got added, and this is a nice trade. But they might even sell the strength here. Mister might open up 20 points and wind up only up 5. That's the way this thing's been trading. So, again, you don't want to always go back to the wall because something worked a month ago. Even CORZ, I had CORZ, we had an open house. It was awesome. It was at $10, okay? And it had a nice trend, which it did. This is when we were buying this. I sold it into 40%. I didn't catch that. And now look at it now. Everyone's like, every day, are you going to buy back CORZ? Are you going to buy back CORZ? I'm like, what? How is this telling you to buy it back? You have Bitcoin making a new high in the year, and this is now below the 21 days. So to me, that's not special. Okay, you don't have to be in things that aren't special. You want to be in things that are paying you to sit in them, paying you to buy a dip, paying you to play it through a price point, and then trimming some and managing it. But I hear you. Even coin has been really hard, to be honest. Coin, look at this disaster. I had it right here. I had options on, and then it did like a false breakout, and it's right back into here. This has been hard too. So as much as everyone's telling you on Twitter how they're about to retire because they're making money every single day, and their signals could generate them a move with 30,000 to 400,000. By the way, if somebody says on Twitter, I met this guy, he turned my 8,000 into 88,000 in 3 hours, chances are it's not true, and you should not be following. You should block that person because it's a robot. But anyway, um, that's why I'm a fan of punching people in the face. Don't do that, Bobby. You might get sued. Anyway, Palantir. That's why I go in a sauna and an ice sparrow, so I don't have to hit anyone in the face. But here's Palantir has been pretty good, trending. It's getting in a little sloppier. This has been awesome too. Yeah, you can't be too upset about Palantir. Had a big gap and go. You could have been long versus here. It's been above the 21-day pretty much for a few months. MU earnings this week. MU is interesting. You could like make this a little wider here. It has a nice little wedge. It's tight. There's a lot of people focused on it. You did get a decent move in AVGO through earnings. Sometimes it doesn't matter what they do. If the market's not in a mood to buy high and sell it higher, like so now AVGO, if you real quickly go here, this is a nice peg play where some guys will say, hey, Red Dog, I'm going to be long verse 211. Okay, that's cool. What would tell me that the semis are really weak and in trouble if all of a sudden this had a great report, doesn't hold 211, that if all of a sudden starts trading into this gap, then you know that they don't want to hold anything higher. So this is AVGO. It's up another 5, so you're getting some follow through. That's nice for you. 228.70. 228.70. That's right here. And it's opening above that. So nice. Went out strong, getting paid, trim and trail. So as far as MU is concerned, the high was 157. It's nice and tight. This is 115. If I were to do it, I would say you could do like a 105 by 115 call spread, or if you want to do a lotto spread, you do like a 115 by 120. Wouldn't cost you much. Not a bad play. What's MU doing this morning? MU is up $3, so it's already up 3 this morning. So people are kind of cheating a little bit with earnings on what is that, December 18th. So on Fed Day. So anyway, at this point, it's gapping up above this 104.80. See if it holds. There's not a lot of really good things going on in the semis. We did have ARM, if you remember. I had this as a play for you guys, and I played it also. Made some decent money. This 3 days up when it went through 145. But this is just semis aren't that easy. When things aren't that easy, you just got to make sure you love them and leave them, and not get too caught up because they were great prior. So that said, anyway, it's 6:54. I'm babbling a little bit. I got to get my week started. You have Fed on Wednesday. Be a little careful here. The SPYs do feel a little vulnerable. The AD lines haven't been great. Tech has been doing a lot of the heavy lifting. The semis do seem a little bit like a little bit of a problem. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. This is a big spot, 602. Do we hold 602, or are we testing, the 21-day here? Do they shake the tree pre-Fed? We'll see. At this point, I'm trying to sell some of my crypto stuff as it fades, and we'll see how we connect the dots moving forward. I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow, I'll make sure we're all on the same page with YouTube, Twitter, and soon to come, TikTok. Red Dog will be on TikTok in January of 2025 in some form. Stay tuned.